intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we're recording this during incursions. So, shout out to Server 21. They're pretty goofy. I've enjoyed talking to them all day this morning. They're pretty cool. So, hey, shout out to everybody, especially there's one like honorary old grandpa on there named JP. Shout out to JP. We appreciate you. You keep being you, JP. Also, everybody else. They're nice people. They even invited me over for Irish creamer and whiskey virtually. And don't ask them what they do on their holodeck. But I want to take today to do an update because during incursions, everybody always tends to focus, including me, on raiding and PvP. I wanted to really change it up a little bit. And this video will actually apply way outside of incursions. I just happen to be doing it during incursions. I want to talk about protected cargo. So right now, you can see I'm raiding. We're going to chill out on that for a little bit. And let's talk about setting our miners out. And let's talk about what you need to do to make sure that you don't lose OPC to a pirate like Rev, because that's a real thing. Now I'm going to rebase real quick and make sure I shield just so that nothing happens during the making of this video. And let's talk about protected cargo and why protected cargo is so important. Now, there are a variety of officers in this game that give you a lot of protected cargo, including some that you get at the very beginning of the game with the early miner set. The first protected cargo officer, you're probably, RNG is the thing. You're going to end up with this to Pring. Now, this does not mean that gas mining abilities or mining abilities aren't important. I will argue that for most players, things like this don't matter, except if you're in maybe the 20s or 30s, and then you'll see an improvement and you might enjoy those. But for most players, this isn't something that becomes a focal point, right? This is not something that, a lot of people focus on. That said, hidden stash would. Now, a max Spring, as you see, I've had her max for quite a while, gives me a 300% boost to my protected cargo. And with there being so many items in the game that you do need to mine, and whether I like it or not, I am not a fan of mining. My friend Ripper is not a fan of mining. You need to have. And let's just talk about an example of where this applies. So I have 2 mining crews. I know it's a shock. As much as I talk about not liking mining, I have 2 crews. My first protected cargo mining crew is this one right here. I have got this lovely gentleman, Raphael Dupont, as captain. Now keep in mind that you don't need to upgrade him unless you want to. You do have to make tactical choices, but as you get him and unlock him slowly, we'll go over sourcing here in a bit. He increases protected cargo by 150%, and I have him up there just as a grade 3 miner. But again, I don't really care about their captain's ability. Now, I also have, as you saw before, T'Pring right here with a 300% bonus. And then one that came out a couple years ago, so I'd actually call her more recent or even a newer officer, new-ish, would be Borg T'Pring. Now, I do want to point out to Scopely, if you're watching, Mr. Overlords out there who like to have things actually look right, protected cargo icons are typically blue. You'll actually see this across most officers. Borg T'Pring is wrong. She's got a green icon, but she gives you protected cargo. This, of course, is based on her level and her tier. Actually, one of the great things about 3 of 11 is she kind of starts where T'Pring ends. So once you get her, and I'll show you again sourcing here in a second, once you get her, you're getting very good protected cargo. And again, this is going to help really boost the level of protected cargo officers that you get. So let's continue on, shall we? I'm going to continue on. So we've got this one, and this is probably the best singular protected officer in the game. I don't really think it's kind of debatable. In fact, let me put up on the screen what she ends up becoming. So real quick, rotate. There you go. So as you can see, she starts at tier 1, 300%, and then maxes out at 500% protected cargo. That is just simply very, very useful. And to give you a visual of what that does to, say, the ship that I'm currently on, which is the Meridian, I will go ahead and take the crew off to show you. So right now I have a protected cargo of 412,000 with a standard cargo of 3 million. Now there are a lot of researches out there for cargo size and protected cargo that can affect what yours is. But let me show you the effect that these 3 officers have if I take them off. So 412 on this Meridian. We remove them. In fact, I'll just actually put this up real quick. Let me actually discard that. that's not the best strategy. Let me put on the regular cargo crew. So this is no protected cargo. This is just straight cargo. And now you'll see that my protected went all the way down. Basically lost 200,000 to 237. So protected cargo crew number 1 happens to be this right here for me. Now again, you can mix and match these as you want, but I tend to find protected cargo is important because we have so many pirates like Rev out in the game, but not only that, more PvP events that are happening like incursions, but also more PvP events that could be coming in the near future. So take that for what it could be worth. It could be nothing. I could be misleading you, or it could be a hint. So let's talk about my second protected cargo crew. Again, a reminder, protected cargo crews typically have a blue icon, so helps easy finding them and sorting. So here are my protected cargo officers. Now you do have a below deck protected cargo officer with this man right here, Mr. Charles Broccoli. Now, if you want to get Reginald Broccoli, Charles Broccoli is, anyway, basketball fans will get the reference. Anyway, as far as Reginald goes here, he does have a below deck ability. It's not huge, but it does help out. I then have a recent officer that just came into the game. I have T'Pol here. Then I have Quark as captain because Quark has a cargo ability as a captain that increases protected cargo. And then last, but certainly not least, I have another Borg officer with 1 of 11. Now I've got him maxed. As you can see, his bonus is not very large, but this is why it's protected cargo crew number 2. Let's talk about general sourcing of these officers. Some of these are actually quite easy to source. Some of them are a little bit more difficult to source depending on what level you are. If you are below level 30, the way to get Borg to Pring, who is the most valuable one, is going to be in the transporter pattern store right here. So here's 3 of 11 or Borg to Pring. This is the main way to get her. Now, for those saying, hey, transporter patterns are hard to get, I will say that there is a grind to it, but I actually just had a level 19 reach out to me the other day who's already earning transporter patterns because they're farming the faction officer system. So there definitely are ways to get this. If you're out there saying, I want to unlock transporter patterns, it just takes you doing that due diligence of working through your augment pulls and your faction pulls to get officers maxed level. Then you'll start getting transporter patterns. And this is one of the officers that I would argue has a lot of value because of what they can provide in the game. And if you scroll back, you'll see a lot of different officers, including Quark, who you just saw. And remember, because his ability is a captain's ability, you really only need him tier 1. So simply unlocking him will help you with protected cargo in the game. If you go over to your premium chest, you'll also find other officers that are of value, for example, 1 of 11. And the good thing about the premium chest, if there is a good one for you, is the premium chest is not oversaturated like the standard ultra recruit chest, and that standard ultra recruit chest gets bigger in the 30s. If you are a player currently watching to learn about protected cargo, in fact, if you're a lower level player, comment down below. I love meeting new players in the game. So if you're newer, let me know. Ultra recruit actually expands tremendously in the 30s, as in a lot gets thrown in here. So it becomes very difficult to focus on something and say, hey, I want to get that officer. But as you can see, you do have some of your more relevant ones like Quark are in here that we've talked about using. If you come down into the rares, you see 1 of 11 again. You'll also see some familiar faces, but like to Pring, but maybe doesn't have everything that you want. I'm going to do a full pull to give an example of that. And I do have some of these that are maxed out, so maybe not the best example, but let's see if we get any, say, 1 of 11 who I don't have maxed. And I didn't. I did get one singular Quark shard, but because it's spread out over so many, it can be difficult to get exactly what you're looking for. But again, you do also have the standard recruit, which has to Pring in it if you want to source protected cargo. And you go into your premium recruit. Once again, just to remind you, you have several others that are in here. Now, there are some that still don't have consistent long-term sourcing, like T'Pol, who's brand new. But I did skip over, I should have mentioned, I guess, Reginald Barkley is right here, which is a below deck ability for protected cargo, which is actually quite nice, I think. Anything that's a below deck ability has become one of the things that I really enjoy in the game. In fact, my main ship in the game is loaded with below deck abilities. So it makes sense to kind of have that same thing for protected cargo. With pirates out there, PvP events, and more, having protected cargo on your boat, in my opinion, is more important than having, say, speed crews that increase how fast you mine a certain material, whether it be oxygen or 3-star gas, or 4-star, or even 5-star materials, protected cargo simply has more value because if you do get hit, this is really cheap to repair, but it makes sure that you bring home as much as possible. Remember, the whole point of protected cargo is if you get hit, you keep whatever was protected. So this one's got 300,000. This one's got 400,000. That means if I set these out, no matter what, I'm mining 700,000 and I'm bringing it home. And that's quite a bit. And if I swap this over to, say, my Hydra, which is a 4-star miner, my protected cargo is almost 1 million. Meaning that, let's say that I sent it to OPC token space, or I'm sorry, token space, as you regular folks call it. Not everybody likes the OPC token hunting, even though it's kind of my thing. I know not everybody likes it. That's completely okay. You don't have to like everything that Rev likes. Please know that I don't think that you should be forced to OPC hunt in token space. But if you do, there's a t-shirt for that on our web store if you want to help support the channel, revdeuce.com. Love this t-shirt. I want you to OPC hunt. Here's token system. Anyway, fun jokes aside, you can see the value of this once you start working on this. Now, in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of protected cargo officers, obviously it's a little bit more difficult to see the effect. But if you put this in as a project where you want to really invest in protected cargo officers, you absolutely can see a tremendous boost to how much you're able to bring home. And that kind of lessens your strain, because one good thing about mining, I can't believe I'm saying anything good about mining. One good thing about mining is, for the most part, it's passive. And protected cargo helps it be more passive because it's more time. You can leave them out without worrying about them. If you need any help with this and any questions about sourcing or long-term sourcing for some of these things, comment down below and I'll be more than happy to answer. And as always, you can reach out to me on Facebook or over on the Discord, link in the comment section and the description down below. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with those Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. I hope y'all having an amazing day. Can't wait to show y'all what's coming next month. Woo! Excited.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.